want to go for travel.
What kind of place that you want?
I want to go to Waterfall.
Me too, and I researched information about this place.
Yes, me too.
I know about this too.
What is this place?
This is the Erawan waterfall. Okay, I will show you about it.
The Erawan waterfall was really an impressive series of 7 waterfalls, each with a shape and character all its own. All the waterfalls typically fill over limestone cliffs, resulting in colorful punched pools, as well as interestingly rounded rock formations reminiscent of something that would belong in a grave. Moreover, we also saw some unsighted waterfalls that seemed legitimate, but this appeared to count towards the 7. In any case, we thought this waterfall had it all: the scenery, the swimming, and the exercise. It was no wonder why it was popular and quite busy here. Of course, given how typically hard it was in this part of Thailand, I guess the swimming or playing in the many punch pools or beneath the waterfalls were enticing as well as scenic. It seemed like this waterfall epitomized the universal appeal of swimming beneath waterfalls in the typically humid tropical climate. From the car park, the trail starts off flat and mostly placed as it ultimately reached the first waterfall. A sign indicated that it was only a 20-minute walk from the visitor center area. Believe it or not, it was possible to bypass this section or walking by taking a tram to that visitor center area. We didn't do the tram option as we thought it was a little overkill. This waterfall doesn't seem to have many swimmers. Thought here we a handful of people camping around for a closer look, and maybe the lack of people in the water here might have been a big reason why we saw lots of fish in the Ratchita Thai pools further downstream of the falls. In fact, I couldn't remember the last time we had seen so much fish before a waterfall in any of our waterfalling excursion, and the Ratchita Thai pools really remind me of Havasu Falls. Yet we weren't totally sure why there were fewer people swimming at this waterfall, given how pretty it was and how there was the presence of Thai pools. Since we didn't take a dip ourselves, we couldn't tell you ourselves whether there was something off about the pool at the falls. A short distance later, the activity picked up and there were a lot of people swimming, wedding, and events camping into a small alcove behind the second waterfall. We thought this waterfall was one of the more scenic ones, given its unsure louder and the raining limestone over which the water flowed. According to the site here, this fall was called Wang Matcha. Given how pretty the falls was, it's no wonder why there was such battle of activity. We had a good time taking photos from here while also chilling out and baking in the atmosphere of the scene. Come to think of it, perhaps the first waterfall might have been a perfectly fine swimming hole, but the second waterfall completely overshadowed it, thereby causing it to become a victim of the lemmings effect. After having our fill of the second waterfall, we finally start the race against time and climb up to the waterfall further ahead. It was a race against time because the park was set to close at 4:30 p.m. with the last admission at 4 p.m. We start hiking at 1:30 p.m.
On the way up, we were stopped at the checkpoint where we had to register with the authorities there. In addition, I recall having to leave some kinds of collateral in exchange for the plastic water bottles we were carrying with us. Perhaps the thought was that the deposits would cover the potential cleanup costs in case the plastic was left behind. It took a few more minutes of uphill hiking before we finally encountered the third Erawan waterfall, which was called Phnom Tok or Phnom Tok, and 220 meters from the visitor center. Unlike the first waterfall, this one also had lots of fish swimming in its plug pool because most of the people chilled out at the second waterfall. However, this one was significantly taller than the first two, possibly 20 to 25 meters, I think, though not nearly as wide. Adding to the scenic allure of this waterfall was the colorful blue, clean water of the plug pool, keeping us from getting all the way to the falls without swimming. It was up there with the second waterfall as one of our favorites in the lot. Further up the hike, the first Erawan waterfall was more of a water slide. It also had a larger drop filter downstream, but it was hard to see. We saw one person scoot himself on the rough rock of the water slide before finally letting gravity take over. And it was about 520 meters from the visitor center. Continuing beyond the first waterfall, the trail became a little less steep as it followed the watercourse responsible for all the Erawan waterfalls. Along the way, we noticed quite a few trees wrapped around with prayer flags, as well as colorful silk-like garments. Our guide said that these were meant to have religious significance, while also doubling as informal trail markers. The fifth waterfall, called Buamalong, and 1.12 kilometers from the visitor center, was just another set of small castles set among limestone with lots of travel-like pools in the area. Given the relative calm and accessibility of this smaller travel-like pool, we saw a handful of people swimming and chilling out here. Seeing is definitely lacked the amount of activity of the second waterfall, probably due to the increased amount of exertion to get here. We could understand why this spot was a good alternative swimming hole to the second falls. The trail got increasingly a little lower beyond the fifth waterfall, as there started to be some sections requiring lattice, while the trail narrowed even more. Some sections of the trail, becoming more like a scramble, require a fair bit of stream walking. Contrasting the drama of the more primitive hiking conditions, we did spot a few more unnamed or unofficial waterfalls en route, which seemed to be even more nature-square than before. But ultimately, this valley immersive part of the hike terminated at the sixth waterfall, which was a wide, multi-tiered chassis with some lower tiers. This waterfall was called Dong Proksa, and it was 1.42 kilometers from the visitor center.
This part of the trail will involve more stream walking, more rickety ladder, and even a few narrow and drop-off explore sections. The drop-offs were not tall enough to induce butterflies in our stomach, but they were enough to cause injury, which a slip and fall. It didn't seem like there were many people willing to go towards the effort to go all the way here, but the relative peace and quiet for making it all the way here really made the exertions worth it.
How to go?
Let me search. Oh, by car or public bus from Kansaburi. The last bus back to Kansaburi is around 4 p.m. Bikes and pickup truck can be hired for transfer within the park.
Yeah. Let's go next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.